Smash the hearts. Enough of this playing around. Let's get to the show for the Lemonheads elimination. Good morning, everybody. How are you? So glad that you are here. Thanks for joining us on all of the streaming platforms that we're on. We're on the YT, the Tube. We're on the TikTok. We're on the IG. We're on the FB, the book. Everywhere we're on. So thank you. I want to start going live on the Blue Sky. I hope we could do that. Good morning, Lemonation. Happy Friday, says TA. Where are you streaming from? What are you doing? I am casual today because I chose to be. I actually got up, walked the dogs. I went outside, Racine, Wisconsin in the house. I walked the dogs. It was cold. I went to I'll give them a little plug, my neighborhood coffee place called Mad Men. Got me a little cinnamon bun. And I'm ready to go. It's the Friday before Thanksgiving. Hi from Omaha, Team Mama. Hi, Tina Huel. Happy Friday. Where are you guys streaming from? Where are you watching us from? Thank you for all of the little gifs and emojis or whatever that you're sending me on TikTok. And thank you for joining. I think I could use a little bit more headroom here. There we go. So thank you. A little casual today, and I decided I'm going to wear my hat because I want to. Because it's Friday and I can tell news, I can inform people. This is how I dress. Oops, if I can get that straight. This is how I dress, normal every day. And guess what? When I dress like this, people don't recognize me until I start to talk, or they look at me and they go, Don? I say, yeah. So it's kind of my incognito, or as I say, incognito, when I'm just walking around the city. And now that I am off of the big mainstream TV, I can actually take the subway now, and I dress like this. Before I couldn't because it was crazy. But people still, if I wear a suit on the subway, it's kind of nuts. But if I dress like this, nobody kind of recognizes me, which is good. I don't see my sunglasses, especially with the sunglasses. It's just perfect. Anyways, so glad that you're here. Where are you streaming from? TikTokers, make sure you hit the hearts. Thank you. Good morning. I like the casual look as well. High Elimination from Charlotte, North Carolina, Rosenberg, Texas, Cindy, 2020, Connecticut, Lexham, Art. You look handsome, says Rosetta Murphy. Thank you. And yeah, I'm so happy that you're here. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Keep subscribing. Our memberships, our subscribers going up. We want to keep the momentum. It needs to go up faster, bigger, faster, stronger until we get to, I'm going to keep yelling at you guys. You could send in the producers if you're there. I don't know if you're there, Andy, whatever. Just send the link to our show and put it in the top. Let me see if I can do it. Maybe I can do it. Let's see if it's the right link. We put it into the chat. Well, this is to watch us. If you want people to watch us, you can do that, right? And then I'll put the link to our show in the chat so that you have no excuse. And that I have to grab that link. Oh, here it is. There we go. Look, I'm doing all this stuff. Like I know how to do stuff by myself, pretending without the help of people like Andy. There we go. Did I do that right, Andy? Do you see, is it showing up in the thing? I think it is. Let me know if it's showing up.
Which chat did you put it in?
It's put it in the live chat. I think I just put a link to the show.
Okay.
So send it and then you can subscribe. You can put it and then you can subscribe. If you're over on TikTok or whatever, you guys can go to YT, look for the Don Lemon Show, at the Don Lemon Show, and you'll see us. I see it. Thank you. So send it to everybody you know. You can text them, you can email them, you can do whatever you want and tell them to join us. Dade City, Florida. Cynthia Felder is streaming or watching us from there. Salem folks from Denver. Maya Cab is in the Bronx. Make merch. I keep promising. On this week of vacation, I'm going to sit around. I'm going to do some things. I'm going to get everything out. You guys ever have, like I have been running and gunning, and just honestly, as they say, I've been hustling since last year, since when I started the show at the beginning of the year in March. I've just been running and gunning actually since like January, right? When I announced this show. Please talk, Don. Please talk about the Trump, says La Yaya. Okay, good morning from California, says Nor's 930 on TikTok. I am really wifey in Mississippi. Thank you for joining us. Deborah Williams, good morning to you on TikTok. Good morning to Colorado. So glad that you guys are here. Okay, so we're starting our content we have a couple of moderators now. Hopefully they're on. And we have sort of fixed it so we don't have so many trolls. I just want to tell you guys, especially if you're on TikTok, we want you, no matter where you are, we want you to join us, even if you're a Trump supporter. It doesn't matter to us. We just want you to be respectful. That's it. You can say whatever you want. You can, give us your opinion. That's all fine. We just want people to be respectful, as I would want the Democrats to be respectful of you as well. You ever notice, even in like the Democrats, they start saying things about the Trump supporters. I'll say, hey, calm down, mute your mic. We don't want that. We want people to be able to discuss things. Vancouver, Washington. Thank you, Don. Love the hoodie, Happiness Project. Yes, Benjamin 12. I want folks to be happy. This is my favorite hat. It's Roback. None of this is not sponsored. I'm just telling you I like this product. I love Roback. I wear this stuff all the time. Russ in Louisiana, my home state. Richard Anderson, hello to you. So it's Casual Friday. So thank you. Have a little coffee. Did you finish? What'd you have for breakfast? Yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw, I was craving grits. And so I went to my local diner. They did not have grits, but I got some scrambled eggs, 2 scrambled eggs, bacon, not crispy, just kind of medium. What else did I get? Whole wheat toast with butter and jelly, coffee, and a cranberry juice. Delicious. Mwah. I wanted some grits, but I didn't. So Justin Fisher 6943 says, I'm a Trump supporter, but I will still respect you. Thank you, Justin. We respect that. And I want to hear from you, right? So in our chat after this, try to jump on and we'll get it. So Justin, thank you for your support. Welcome to Trump News Network, says Burrito. Not really. Not really. Can you make Trump merchandise? Sure, I can make Trump merchandise. I'll have like a big lemon taking a chunk out of the Trump steak or something. Yeah, that will do that. TikTok Talker says, Don, I am scared of our democracy. So Tina Ryland here from South Carolina, proud Kamala supporter. Okay, great. So everyone's here. Hello from Riceville, Iowa. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Lemonheads from Florida, says Desiree Darasaw. Okay, so it is our Casual Friday again. Thank you. I'm glad that you're here. Let's talk about some stuff. So this is our Hot Topic show. As you can see, this clown cabinet is continuing, okay? And there's no other way to put it. I know people hate it and they think like, oh my gosh, you're just, being a hater and derangement. No, this is a clown cabinet. Look at all the chaos that's happening around this cabinet. Can you imagine if Donald Trump had just like done something that was kind of normal? And folks would have said, wow, okay, maybe he's going to make a difference and make some real change this time around, instead of just being a troll as he did last time around and wasn't really an effective president the first time. This clown cabinet show continues. The president-elect Donald Trump on Thursday named the longtime ally Pam Bondi. Do you guys remember Pam Bondi? Do you guys remember her? Pam Bondi's old school Florida Republican. That's his new choice for attorney general. This caps his tumultuous week for his previous pick, Matt Gaetz. So Matt Gaetz has had more than a tumultuous week, but this has probably been one of the most tumultuous weeks of his life. This Matt Gaetz character from Florida. So now it's Pam Bondi. I had a friend who called me this morning and said, Don, I think Pam Bondi was it all along. That was the pick all along. Let me give Andy a little more headroom here. Give you a little more headroom. I believe that was the pick all along that some folks are saying. Now, I don't know if it was the pick all along. I don't know. I remember Pam. Ugh, says BJ. Yeah. So not sure if it was a pick all along, but it is Pam Bondi. Bondi's elevation came just hours after Gaetz's withdrawal, after Gaetz withdrew his name from consideration following increased scrutiny over allegations of sexual misconduct. If confirmed, Pam Bondi would lead the Justice Department and set the agenda for federal investigations and prosecutions. Trump's pick for the nation's top law enforcement official comes as some of his critics fear he will use his administration to seek retribution against him. Tracy Hall, I do too. I think Gaetz was a distraction to get Bondi. Okay, maybe so. I don't know. But I think actually he wanted Gaetz because I think he wanted to have someone that he could hold some stuff over his head. Also someone who was like running away from, essay allegations and also rid Trump of his essay allegations. Loving your new book. I appreciate your podcast, says Joyce Pastor. And thank you for your generous support of independent media. I guess you can call it a podcast. It's really a streaming show. There's a podcast element that it's whatever. So it's not like a traditional podcast, but whatever. 6.5 one, 6.5 half dozen of the other. How does that work? 6.5 dozen of the other. I forget what that. I used to know what that's saying. Lemon taking a bite out of an orange. Oh, I like that, Rebecca Bentley. Thank you for your support. Yeah, thank you for your support. I like that as well. Maybe we'll do that because someone is asking for it. Some of the Trump supporters in the chat want some merch, some Trump merch. So we'll make some Trump merch with a lemon taking a bite out of an orange. What do you guys say to that? Do you like that? I think it's actually a really good idea. So thank you for your support and thank you for the idea. Thank you for the idea. Okay, I know I'm a little casual today, right? 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Thank you. There you go. Thank you. Got it. It's early for me. 6 in one, half dozen of the other. I think it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about this whole Pam Bondi, Matt Gaetz, Pete Hegseth. Oh, y'all, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted with this shit. Sorry for the salt. I'm not sorry for the. I'm exhausted with this shit. I'm exhausted with all the folks who are making excuses. You know who I'm really exhausted with? That gross woman who is, you know who I'm talking about? Anyone? 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 Who is the thirstiest woman in Washington right now? Who is the thirstiest woman in the Congress right now? I'm so over that woman, especially, let me tell you why I'm over that woman. Okay? Because she's using her, no, it's not Marjorie Taylor Greene. Thank you very much, Lips Galore. It's Nancy Mace. She is using her status as a survivor of SA to try to criminalize someone else, making an excuse saying this is, I call bullshit on this whole, this triggers me. Because first of all, Sarah McBride presents as a woman. And how would she know? Does she even know the genitalia that the folks who are already serving in Congress in Washington with her, is she absolutely sure of their genitalia? Has she checked all of it to know who is sitting next to her, who's in a restroom with her, who's in the dressing room with her, who's in the locker room? Has she checked everybody's genitalia? How does she know? So it's a complete grift. So she is the most annoying of everyone. She is, you know how Charlemagne has a donkey of the week? We need to come up with I don't know if I want to call people donkeys, but maybe, I mean, some people are just jackasses. So maybe. How does she know? So she's using this she's clout chasing off of someone she should be trying to learn from. And, right, Brittany KO1 says, our taxpayer dollars are actually paying this fool's salary. Yes, donkey of the day, says Henry Gibbs. No, of the week. Even out of all of the people, the Gateses of the world, the Hegseths of the world, all of them. It's just so gross what she's doing and so obvious. That's just how we need to start, when someone does this, Lemonheads, what do you think we should do? Should we figure the week? Oh, I love that, Jeannie. That is so perfect for this week, Jeannie. Back that up. Back that comment up. Back that thing up. Jeannie.
I'm looking for it. They go by so fast.
That's the perfect thing. Freak of the week. I like that. It could be freak of the week, creep of the week, but freak of the week, that's it. We should start sending people either like a water mug or like a case of water when they're so thirsty, right? When they become that thirsty. Oh, by the way, I didn't turn it on. Hey Siri, turn on Do Not Disturb. When they become that thirsty, we should start sending them maybe a case of water, just dropping it at their office, or a mug or something, a water mug, whatever you call those little things, and say, you were so thirsty this week, we thought we would help you out and send you some water. And by the way, you're our freak of the week. Thank you, Jeannie. Okay, so let's discuss Matt Gaetz and Pam Bondi. Matt Gaetz and Pam Bondi. This is a CNN panel discussing both. We will talk about it. We'll pause it. We'll chop it up a little bit. And I want to know what you guys think. If you're on the YT with us, hit the thumbs up. If you're on TikTok or whatever, make sure you hit the hearts, or whatever you're watching us on, you're streaming from. Make sure you hit the likes. And I love the galaxies, by the way. Our goal, you see, is 25. We only have 6. What's up, TikTok? Okay, let's go. Here's the CNN panel discussing.
You know, I think you said it here first a couple of days ago that there was no way Matt Gaetz was going to go through. And clearly, there were probably way more than just 4 people who were going to oppose this nomination.
8, 12, 14. I mean, I think he had a real problem. And it was obvious to everyone. And I think they knew that when they nominated Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz now hopes to get out of the ethics report coming out in the House. He gets to go home, having proven he's close to Donald Trump, maybe mount a run for governor of Florida. So in the end, everyone may get a consolation prize. You know, maybe like The Price is Right. You take something home.
Pam Bondi, Molly Ball, has been on the political scene. I first covered her when she flew around with Mitt Romney campaigning in Florida. I think those of us who, you know, we were texting each other about this development last night, because not necessarily something that had been expected. But I mean, to Brad's point, she compared to Matt Gaetz, that comparison is, you know, they're worlds apart, even if there might be people who would raise questions about her nomination.
Well, and although she has those, as you say, more establishment bona fides than a Matt Gaetz, she also is someone who has been a Trump loyalist, right? She was very early to endorse him in 2016 when a lot of people in Florida were on board with other candidates, when Trump was viewed much more skeptically. And she's been loyal to him throughout, you know, defending him in the impeachment, as you noted before. So I think she is viewed as someone who can sort of bridge the traditional Republican establishment and sort of MAGA world, because
she obviously has been very. Thank you, Andy. Oh my gosh, this panel is giving me a headache. You know why this panel is giving me a headache? Because they're sitting around talking about this as if these people are normal. And I'm not saying they shouldn't discuss it, but everyone is like, well, you know, bridges the gap. Pam Bondi is a conservative, somewhat traditional if you want to, but she's fairly extreme. And not only that, Pam Bondi launched an investigation into Donald Trump because of the Trump University. I don't know if you guys remember this. Launched an investigation, and we're going to get to it, into Trump University, and then dropped it after he donated money to her reelection committee. Like, and everyone's sitting around like, yeah, you know, she bridges the gap between. You guys don't know who Pam Bondi is? Like, Pam Bondi is kind of a Tea Party, whatever, like started with she's like on the forefront of the extremism that morphed into MAGAism. But it's just like, you know, let's sit around and just talk. That's how these people got normalized. Am I right? And that's how these people got normalized. So now you have to sit around. Bondi may have qualifications, but she's as dangerous as the rest, says Dono Lem. Is that me? Are you kind of making, is that sort of you, whatever, playing off my name? I don't know. Some people believe that actually Matt Gaetz had more legal bona fides than Pam Bondi. But let's not sit around and pretend Pam Bondi is, Mitt Romney. Let's not even sit around and pretend Pam Bondi is Marco Rubio. She's not. She's very anti-gay. She's anti same-sex marriage. Like, she's not living in the present, sort of living in, anyways. She's the far right. She is what, she was at the, as I said, the forefront of what became the MAGA movement. Here we go.
Very loyal to Trump, and but she has more traditional experience. So particularly compared to someone like Matt Gaetz, who had barely practiced law, the fact that she has actually been a state attorney general for 2 terms, that she has done the more traditional, has prosecutorial experience and that sort of thing, I think is going to really warm the hearts of a lot of Republican senators who are having so much heartburn over Matt Gaetz, and who frankly didn't know where to start with him. Was it the lack of qualifications that was most disturbing? Was it the ethics stuff? Was it other stuff? Was it his,
By
conflicts
ethics stuff, you
with
mean possibly having sex with a minor?
All of that,
Possibly
yes.
multiple occasions. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dana?
Pause. Okay.
Oh.
So again, now you have to sit around and pretend that Pam Bondi is like a normal sort of, right? And so they'll say, and maybe this was the play, right? Is to get, I don't know, maybe it is, now that I think about it, maybe it was the play, is to get someone like Pam Bondi in there who is a loyalist, who is extreme and far right. But compared to Matt Gaetz, seems normal. And now it allows senators who will be in charge of the approval or the appointee, the nomination process, to say, yeah, at least she's not Matt Gaetz. Maybe that's it. So, hey, she's normal. She's not Matt Gaetz. She doesn't have the SA allegations. Was that it? Maybe that was it. Okay, let's see. Let's say you, gentlemen, sir, are about to speak.
Look, I don't want to attribute any strategy to the president-elect here, but it is kind of genius to put Matt Gaetz out there as sort of a stalking horse, and anybody you put up after that is going to look reasonable. So I think a little bit of that is what's happening here. I mean, overall, he's set up. It's largely a vanity project, right? It's an administration full of loyalists.
Thank you, Dana.
It's a lot of Fox News contributors. So in a vacuum, I think we'd be saying, wow, I mean, none of these guys seem to have any particular relevant experience for the job. But I mean, as somebody who's worried about what the Trump administration may be doing, I'm saying, well, thank God for that, because there's not necessarily a whole lot of competence.
But he should get loyalists. He should, right? No president doesn't go for loyalists.
Well, sure. I mean, you kind of segue into what I was going to say, which is yes, she absolutely benefits from not being Matt Gaetz. I mean, you want to follow the person who went down in flames. That you're going to benefit by comparison, but I don't think we should lose sight of the fact. I mean, she was an ardent 2020 election denier. I mean, there are still fundamental questions about whether somebody being appointed to run the Justice Department should be be who's willing to just blatantly lie on behalf of the president. And so, yes.
I'm done with this panel. I'm over it. I'm bored. I'm sorry. By the way, it has nothing to do with you, Casey. I love you, Casey. He's a former colleague. I was just like, definitely boring, says Tania. I just meant with the whole process and the whole way that this is presented, and you sit and you have to, why can't you folks come on and say, look, Pam Bondi is on the extreme side, like just right out of the gate, like everyone has to sort of tiptoe around the whole thing. I'm bored by all these panels, says Queer Nerd Fan Daddy. Yes, you guys get me? It's just like, get to it. Immediately, someone should say, look, perhaps this was Trump's strategy. I don't know, but we're now sitting around. Here's where we are right now. Either it was a strategy or not, but we're sitting around pretending that Pam Bondi is some sort of normal acceptable nominee or appointee when this happened, this happened, this happened, and don't forget this happened, and she is a loyalist. So yeah, do you want someone who's loyal? But as you're doing this, as you are considering this process, you need to know this about this candidate, this, and this. So maybe the senators may feel like, whew, we don't have to like vote on Matt Gaetz, but now we have Pam Bondi, and so that should be blah, 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 blah. So let's talk. The reporter is saying the same thing. Lawmakers are relieved by Gaetz dropping out, and now they feel like they have someone that they can vote for or approve who's just this, because the thing is going to be they're not as bad as Matt Gaetz, so let's do it. Good man. Maybe it's genius. Let's listen.
There's, I think, a lot of relief that Matt Gaetz is no longer the nominee. One person said that certain events, like the sun chasing away the dark of night, are not surprising. They're expected. But that doesn't stop me from being grateful for each sunrise. I now know what is going to be the first feather of my gratitude handprint turkey this Thanksgiving.
Can you pause that, please? Certain events, like the sun chasing away the dark of night, are not surprising. They're expected. But that doesn't stop me from being grateful for each sunrise. I now know that is going to be the first feather of my gratitude handprint turkey this Thanksgiving. Says a DOJ official. At least it's not Matt Gaetz, but I don't know. Maybe it's better. Because no matter what you say about Matt Gaetz, he's a smart ass, right? They said he's not going to win any congeniality, personality, contests. But he is, I think he's smart. Pam Bondi? Okay, let's keep going. They're relieved that it's not Gaetz. That's what they're going to vote on. Okay, let's watch.
Another official told my colleague Ken Delanian that this is such a relief. It is hard to imagine him appointing someone worse, but we shall see. So obviously, the next big question is who is actually
such a relief. Hard to imagine him appointing someone worse, but we will see. Maybe it's kind of genius on Trump's part. Maybe it's genius, and I'm sure he has some folks advising him. I would think maybe. Maybe it's genius because, again, takes the pressure. They had so much pressure, like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to find a way to approve this guy. We're gonna have to create some sort of permission structure. We're gonna have to, twist ourselves into a pretzel to make excuses about why Matt Gaetz should be blah blah blah. And now we don't have to do it. Pam Bondi, let's get her done. Tony Diane, thank you for being committed to calling it like it is. Please do not stop. We need this level of non-delusion in this delusional era. Thank you, Tony Diane. Thank you for your support. Yeah, I mean, come on. Why not? Why not? Such a relief. Hard to imagine him appointing someone worse, but we will see. I don't know. Second DOJ official. I don't know. Who could be worse? Well, he could have appointed Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I mean, I think that's probably along the same lines. Okay, let's go.
That Attorney General nominee now that Matt Gaetz has dropped out. Chris.
Okay, that's it. Now, you want to know, we were talking about, let's talk about the history, because it takes too long for people to get to the history and exactly who these people are. This is a local Florida news timeline of Trump and Bondi's history, and they do have a history together. I want you guys to pay close attention to this history, right? Because it's very important to see why we're here. And you can say, is it worse? Is it not? Wait, why did I not know this? Why did I not know this? Why are they trying to make this seem kind of normal? When there was an alleged payoff, right? He actually got in trouble for donating money to her. I don't know if it was directly to her campaign, but it may have been to a PAC or a group that was supporting her campaign. Okay, so here it is. Let's listen to this.
But as 10 News reporter Phil Buck explains, the two have a controversial history dating back to before Trump ever jumped into the presidential race.
There you go.
Well, President Trump, he knows he has an ally in Pam Bondi, the Tampa native and the former state AJ. She's no stranger to scandal.
Pause. I like this guy. I don't know who this guy is, but I like that he's just like a normal dude. It's not the tie. I mean, he's kind of a bro, right? He's just like, yeah, whatever. I kind of like that he's not saying that. Well, that's right, Molly. Donald Trump and Pam Bondi have a long and tainted history, starting in 1987 when Pam Bondi was in college. I mean, but he's just like, this is kind of a dude. I like this. It's kind of a normal person. Okay, let's go.
Involving both of them. So let's pick things up in September 2013. Bondi's office announces she's looking into investigating complaints against Trump University and its affiliates. 4 days later, and Justice for All, which was a political group backing Bondi's re-election campaign, they get a check for $25,000 from the nonprofit Trump Foundation. A few weeks later, well, Bondi says, yeah, she's actually not going to file suit against Trump over those Trump University complaints. Fast forward now to March 2016, a campaign rally right here in Tampa. Bondi gets up on stage and endorses Donald Trump for president. The following week, Trump representatives, they acknowledged that illegal donation. They blamed it on a series of clerical errors. And then in July, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, they file a complaint asking for an investigation into whether or not Bondi broke the law by not pursuing legal action against Trump University. A couple of months later, the Washington Post reports that the IRS fined the Trump Foundation for that illegal donation. Less than 2 weeks after that, September 13th, 2016, Crew then files criminal bribery complaints against both Trump and Bondi with the Department of Justice. So now let's fast forward another 2 years. That brings us up to 2018, December. Trump is now the president, and the Trump Foundation officially shuts down amid all of this controversy. And then we skip again ahead to just last week. On Wednesday, we start to hear reports coming out that Bondi is going to be joining the White House communications team. And then on Thursday of last week, a judge orders the president to pay $2 million for misusing his nonprofit, the Trump Foundation, to further his campaign for president. So those are all the dots. Doesn't take a whole lot of effort to connect them all.
Okay, pause it, please. That's the end. Andy, re-rack that. I want you guys have to watch that again, because that's why I said, oh my gosh, this panel is boring me. Because you guys, and again, has nothing to do with that old place. I mean, if you know, MSNBC had done that, or if Fox had done that, whoever, ABCC, I would say, I mean, this is boring. Because right away, you need to get to the point. Hey, here's the deal. She is a loyalist, and they have a very, very suspect history. Pam Bondi, everyone's going to try to say that she's normal, but check all of this out before we even talk about this as if this is something that is normal. Right, Laura Hupka? Democrats need to push hard on her nomination. It needs to be broadcast. Fox will never show it, though. Those are the people need to see. Okay. Who need to see it? That's the point. I'm going to play this again. Now, guys, listen, because again, this is a report. This was back, obviously, I think this report was from 2019 or whatever. This is before she was nominated just yesterday. That they are giving you the receipts and the tea on their relationship. And how much of this have you heard about? After you get through all the panels sitting around. Sorry. Seriously, though, well, let me just say that she comes from a long line of Republicans who have been, and you're like, oh my God. Just say Pam Bondi is currying favor, or she wants, Pam Bondi is, I shouldn't say currying favor. Well, kind of. Would you just say Pam Bondi is ambitious and an opportunist, and she was also kind of a never-Trumper because she filed a complaint against Donald Trump. He donated to her campaign, and then she dropped it suspiciously, and it was investigated. Like, that should be the first thing. So listen, please watch this again, and listen if you're on the TikTok or wherever you are. on the IG or on Facebook, wherever you are. Okay, this is their history before we even get to what is happening now. Okay, this is after Matt Gaetz dropped out. This is Pam Bondi, who she is. Okay, there it is.
But as 10 News reporter Phil Buck explains, the two have a controversial history dating back to before Trump ever jumped into the presidential race.
Well, President Trump, he knows he has an ally in Pam Bondi, the Tampa native and the former state AJ. She's no stranger to scandals involving both of them. So let's pick things up in September 2013. Bondi's office announces she's looking into investigating complaints against Trump University and its affiliates. 4 days later, and Justice for All, which was a political group backing Bondi's re-election campaign, they get a check for $25,000 from the nonprofit Trump Foundation.
Wow.
A few weeks later, well, Bondi says, she's actually not going to file suit against Trump over those Trump University complaints.
Okay.
Fast forward now to March 2016, a campaign rally right here in Tampa. Bondi gets up on stage and endorses Donald Trump for president. The following week, Trump representatives, they acknowledged that illegal donation. They blamed it on a series of clerical errors. And then in July, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, they file a complaint asking for an investigation into whether or not Bondi broke the law by not pursuing legal action against Trump University.
Sure, it was a witch hunt.
A couple of months later, the Washington Post reports that the IRS fined the Trump Foundation for that illegal donation. Less than 2 weeks after that, September 13th, 2016, Crew then files criminal bribery complaints against both Trump and Bondi with the Department of Justice.
Deep state.
So now let's fast forward another 2 years. That brings us up to 2018, December. Trump is now the president, and the Trump Foundation officially shuts down amid all of this controversy. And then we skip again ahead to just last week. On Wednesday, we start to hear reports coming out that Bondi is going to be joining the White House communications team. And then on Thursday of last week, a judge orders the president to pay $2 million for misusing his nonprofit, the Trump Foundation, to further his campaign for president.
Activist judge.
So those are all the dots. Doesn't take a whole lot of effort to connect them all.
I mean, it's all deep state witch hunt, activist judge going after a good man who was supporting a good woman who all of a sudden had an epiphany about someone she wanted to investigate, just after she donated. They donated $25,000 to her campaign. I mean, what's wrong with that? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, you guys. You have Trump derangement syndrome. Where's the real evidence of this witch hunt? See how that works? You guys are, come on. See how that works? Boy, these look good. I got them clean yesterday. Sorry, I digress. Looks good. Okay, so there you go. And now let's look at this. This is from the MSNBC. Put it up full screen so I can read it, okay? Here we go. Donald Trump and Pam Bondi candidate dismisses questions around donation tied to Florida Attorney General. Donald Trump paid a $2,500 fine to the IRS, his foundation, after his foundation donated to a political group backing Florida's Attorney General, Pam Bondi. That was in 2016. Ancient history. Why are you going back to, why are you guys going back in 2016? It's ancient history. In 2013, cancel culture. A scourge on society. Is there anybody normal in this administration elect? Now, as with most people in Donald Trump's orbit, because they found him so toxic and so reprehensible when he finally entered into the political stage in a real way back in 2015 and 2016, as with just about everyone in his orbit, in his administration elect, in his circle, they all talked shit about him. Nobody liked him. He was about as universally disliked as Matt Gaetz. This is Pam Bondi campaigning for Mitt Romney and then Bush and then Trump. She realized, like, I better get on this Trump train or I'm going to lose my place in the line. I have to go to the back and start all over again. Here it is.
It is our job to make a new choice. It is time to stand up and say in a loud, clear voice, enough. It is time to repeal Obamacare. It is time to stop those who ignore the Constitution when it's expedient.
Oh.
It is time to remember that our rights are not a gift from government, but from God. And that by His grace, we will defend them.
Okay, pause.
It is time.
Why is it, guys, that we're always twisting politics into religion and that's what gets us into trouble? Like, leave your religion out of the government and out of politics. Come on. Can we just do that? Can you guys just please stop it? If you don't want to have an abortion, then don't have one, but don't like tell other people that they can't because your church, my church says, my Lord says this. I am a believer. I'm not going to push my religious beliefs onto you. What the hell? There's a separation of church and state. Well, because this was granted by God. Great. Queer Nerd Fan Daddy in the comment section on YT says, so God will pay my medical bills when they cancel Obamacare? Thank you. So this is her tapping for Mitt Romney back in the day, before she became a full Trumper. Here we go.
For Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan.
Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, thank you.
People can trust Jeb Bush, whether it's an international crisis or in the eye of a hurricane.
Now she's on to Jeb Bush.
This man will be here for us, he will be here for our country, and he will be here for our world.
Uh-huh. You tell him, Pam.
I am very proud to introduce the man who will be the next president of the United States of America, Jeb Bush.
Pause. Jeb Bush. Now, remember who Jeb Bush ran against in 2016? Do you guys remember that? Are you old enough to remember? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Bueller? Do you guys remember who Jeb Bush ran against in 2016? And then we fast forward to the Republican National Convention in Cleveland in 2016, right after she supported Jeb Bush. Just back it up just a second, just before she gets to this. There we go. Okay, so then she said, here's Jeb Bush. Let me introduce you. I support him. He's going to be the next president of the United States. And then this.
If you believe in limited government, if you believe in our historic constitutional rights, if you believe in the rule of law, if you believe it's time for America to start acting like America again, there is only one choice in this election: Donald Trump.
Oh my gosh. Oh, can you believe anyone? That's why I don't believe a thing. I know, LOL. I don't believe anything that comes out of these people's mouths because it changes with the wind and it's all about power. Girl, bye, says Demetrius Cephas. Amen. It changes. The clown car is overflowing, says Benita. It changes with the wind. I want to be right next to, in the proximity of power, right next to it. I want to be with the person that's going to elevate my career quickly. Not about principles. Not that I stand for the principles that Jeb Bush stood for. Not that Jeb Bush doesn't speak about women and minorities and just all people who served, veterans, John McCain, who was a POW. Not that I stand, not, we stand for the family values, right? Because she's like, family values, we don't believe in same-sex marriage. Marriage is between a man and a woman. We have values. But we love Donald Trump. We love him. Joel Staley, thank you. Fair weather politicians. We love him because of his values. His values. We love him because he cheated on his wife after she just had a baby. We love him for the affairs that he had. We love him for grabbing him by the pee. Those are our values now. We love him for the essay. We love him. We love him. These are our values. And now Bondi she's completely moved over and morphed into a MAGA head. And now she's saying, after all that, it's bad that he was bad and that she's, Romney. Okay, the Romney was before, that was the Obama, and then Bush during the Trump thing, right? And then now she's completely morphed into a MAGA head, and now she is saying that Trump should weaponize the DOJ. Okay, and now she wants to be the Attorney General. Weaponize it. Here it is.
Something else that's going to happen, Sean, is when Republicans take back the White House, and we will be back in there in 18 months or less. You know what's going to happen? The Department of Justice, the prosecutors will be prosecuted, the bad ones. The investigators will be investigated, because the deep state, last term for President Trump, they were hiding in the shadows. But now they have a spotlight on them, and they can all be investigated, and the House needs to be cleaned out, because now we know who most of them are. There's a record of it, and we can clean house next term.
So remember that whole enemies from within thing, and that I never said that I was going to prosecute my political opponents, enemies from within. That's what she is promoting there. She's positing that and saying that that is what's going to happen whenever Trump retakes the Oval Office. And now he is nominating her as his Attorney General. You guys see what's going on here, right? Now, I just want you to say, if you are a MAGA person, if you are a Trump supporter, I just want you to think, imagine if that was, let's say, who is a Biden person? I don't know. Let's just say if it was, what's her name? Rice, who was the U.S. ambassador to the UN. Let's just say she said something like that. What would you guys say? Or if it was someone like Valerie Jarrett or something saying something, you'd be like, wait, what? Democrats are weaponizing the DOJ and they want to prosecute their political opponents. That is the extreme. See how that works? See how that works? And where is the lie? I'm telling you the truth. I'm not lying. You guys know I'm not lying. You can't say, oh my gosh, you're just being so political, whatever. Okay. If that's what you believe. Weaponize the DOJ. Okay. And then they say that this was, I just had a conversation the other day with someone who was saying, and the Republicans are tired of the, what do they call it, lawfare from the Department of Justice. What is she advocating here? She's advocating lawfare. If anything, Democrats are pissed off at Merrick Garland because they feel he's not being as targeted as they would like in the Department of Justice, that he wasted time with the prosecution of Donald Trump, that he waited too long, that he was feckless, that he was ineffective. Here's Pam Bondi defending Trump at his impeachment.
In early 2014, Joe Biden, our Vice President of the United States, led the United States foreign policy in Ukraine with the goal of rooting out corruption. According to an annual study published by Transparency International, during this time, Ukraine was one of the most corrupt countries in the entire world. In Ukraine, there's a natural gas company called Burisma.
Oh my God.
Burisma has been owned by an oligarch named Mykola Solchevsky. Here's what happened very shortly after Vice President Biden was made U.S. point man for Ukraine. His son, Hunter Biden, ends up on the board of Burisma, working for and paid by the oligarch Solchevsky. In February 2014, in the wake of anti-corruption uprising by the people of Ukraine, Solchevsky flees the country, flees
my
Ukraine.
God.
Solchevsky, the oligarch, is well known. George Kent, the very first witness that the Democrats called during their public hearings, testified.
Okay,
Solchevsky stood out for his self-dealing.
Please. Oh my gosh, this whole Burisma thing is like a conspiracy theory that has been proven to be false and fictitious over and over and over again. All you have to do is go look at it. Trump revives false narrative on Biden and Ukraine. This is a claim cited the explosive documents published by the New York Post, of course, to claim that Joe Biden went to Ukraine and threatened to withhold $1 billion in aid if they did not. Hang on one second. If they did not, crap, I lost the place in the thing. At a campaign rally now, where President Donald Trump cited an unsubstantiated news report to revive a widely debunked false narrative about Joe Biden's work in Ukraine on behalf of the Obama administration. All of this stuff and Burisma, this Burisma thing, has been debunked. There was no meeting that ever happened. None of it ever happened. That was a report by factcheck.org. My old place at CNN. Fact check. How House Republicans put now debunked Biden bribery history into the official record. USA Today, Joe Biden leveraged Ukraine aid to oust corrupt prosecutor. Fact check by USA Today, false. Even the House investigation. Fact versus fiction, the finding of Ukraine Prosecutor General Viktor Shokin. Remember that Shokin? All of that stuff false. Oh my gosh. False. And there it is, Pam Bondi at the United Nations, bringing up these claims. And I don't know if can you guys hear it as she's bringing them up? People are going, oh. But this is how fiction becomes fact. Here it is.
Feelings, even among other oligarchs. House managers didn't tell you that. Ambassador Kurt Volkler explained that Burisma had a, quote, very bad reputation as a company for corruption and money laundering.
That's all false. It's just, if you don't believe me, just go and look at it. Do a Snopes search, do a fact check search. Even you can check some of your conservative sites. It's all made up. It's all made up. And there it is. That's going to be that is going to be not your, that's going to be our Attorney General. Someone who believes in conspiracy theories, someone who believes in far right-wing propaganda and conspiracy, bordering on QAnon conspiracy theories. Are you guys okay with that? You're going to have to be. But this is who the Senate will say, okay, we can approve this person because they're not as bad as Matt Gaetz. At least she doesn't have essay allegations. So, as they say, which was the original legitimate definition of woke, stay woke. The original definition wasn't the co-opted one where, oh, it's to cancel people, or because it's far left-wing sort of, ways of indoctrinating people or getting rid of people or torturing people or castigating people. Stay woke means you should know your shit, know your history, know what's real. So as we are sitting around, all of us, and then all of those panels are sitting around discussing Pam Bondi and Pete Hegseth and Matt Gaetz and Linda McMahon and Elise Stefanik, all this, like, just know. And so, you know, because it always starts off, well, let me just say this, that, and then remember that, you know, Joe Biden was not so innocent and such and blah, blah, blah. Like the false equivalency. Let's just say, you know, I mean, of course, the Democrats are not perfect either. But now you have a person who is, you know, is a loyalist to Donald Trump, and he deserves to have loyalists on his administration. However, I hate that shit. Let's just say Pam Bondi is an opportunist. Let's just be honest here, okay, panel? Pam Bondi is an opportunist who was a never-Trumper, who wanted to investigate Donald Trump. Then he donated money to her campaign or a PAC that supported her campaign. There was an investigation, found guilty. Donald Trump had to pay a fine. And then the Trump organization who donated the money eventually went out of business and had to pay a lot of money. And now Pam Bondi, from going from a never Trumper, a Mitt Romney supporter, to a Jeb Bush supporter, to then a Donald Trump apologist, is now, shouldn't be a surprise that he has nominated her to be his attorney general because she will carry his water. Boom. Some things are objectively what they are. And it does not deserve all this. Well, you know, I mean, hey, well, and then of course, remember when Bill Clinton or so whoever, or I don't know who, let's just say when Bill Clinton or Barack Obama had a nanny or a maid that they did not pay taxes on or was overlooked, may have possibly been undocumented. Just remember that happened, okay? Well, let's just remember them then, because everybody does not have perfect nominees. All of the false equivalency and the hemming and hawing and the beating around the damn bush, let's just say it is. Let's just call a thing a thing. He wants her because she wanted to investigate it. She dropped it. She became a loyalist. And then guess what? Now he wants her to be his attorney general because she is a loyalist and she does whatever he says. Well, the Democrats also have people who are not, you know, the most upright people, and their qualifications is all blah, blah, blah. Shut up. I'm feisty today. Maybe it's the coffee. Come on, tell me, you guys. Where do you think? Don speaks the truth, someone said on TikTok. Smash those hearts. Yes, I cannot tell a lie. Remember we learned that? What was that? Who was that? Valencia Culverson, thank you for your support. Remember, anyone, I cannot tell a lie. Anyone? Bueller, Tracy Hall, Don, you are doing it. Thank you. Don, feisty today. Yeah, I am. Bueller, who is that? I cannot tell a lie. You guys, come on, you guys. Bueller. We're going to have to start teaching like some civics or some history here. Thank you, M-Town boy, for ya. It is Abe Lincoln or is it George Washington? Who is it? Can I tell a lie? Is it Abe Lincoln? Is it George Washington? It was George. Okay. So Chris Winkler said Bill Clinton. I love that. Was it Lincoln or was it Washington? Someone said Harry Potter. Someone says it was Pinocchio. Who chopped down the cherry tree? And then said, I cannot tell a lie. Anyone? It's GW, the slave owner. Yeah, the slave owner. But look, that's what our country was built on. That's what our country was built on. So we can't expect to go back in history and to find people who weren't slave owners. That you should know about that if you're teaching the history of this country. That's the whole thing. A lot of folks were slave owners because that is the history of our country. And some people don't like to talk about that. Okay, let's talk about Pete Hegseth, because many believe that Pete Hegseth, even with these essay allegations, even with Purifoy 17 says, it's the hat. You like it or do you not like it? So Pete Hegseth, even with these allegations in the police report, there are folks who believe that he might actually make it. That Matt Gaetz was, gave him cover, but now that Matt Gaetz is out of the way, let's see if people will completely believe that. Okay. So this is my friend Tim Miller. I love listening to Tim Miller. He's so feisty and real. This is Tim Miller talking about Pete Hegseth. He might make it.
I think that maybe an important perspective or one way to look at this, to just show how absurd of a nomination this is let's look at this story from Pete Hegseth's perspective. Like here's what Pete Hegseth is pitching people what happened in this situation. In this situation, he's drunk at a conservative conference. At 1:30 a.m., he's screaming about how he has freedom of speech and berating a hotel staffer. Then he takes a woman back to his hotel room for what he says is consensual sex. At the moment that that's happening, he is in between marriages. I think actually he's still technically married to his second wife, but that marriage is they're getting divorced because he had a child with someone that works for him, who then became his third wife. And in the meantime, he's drunkenly, doing whatever with the woman, Jane Doe, who's alleged sexual assault and what he says is consensual at a hotel in California, that he's under the age of 40. I mean, I'm not judging anybody that's been divorced or whatever. Like, this guy's life is a disaster. And this guy's personal life is a total disaster. And he has a love child, and he's in between marriages, and he's drunkenly shouting at hotel staff, and he's having another affair, meanwhile, with not one of the three women that are his wives. And so it's like, somebody whose personal life is that much of a disaster, would you want them in one of the most important jobs in the world? I mean, maybe if they had the resume for it and they demonstrated the judgment in their work life that they haven't shown in their personal life. But he's a talk show host. He's a weekend morning talk show host. Like, this is a preposterous pick on every level. Like, he's not qualified for the job, and the judgment that he's shown privately leaves much to be desired. The only cover that he had for this nomination was the existence of Matt Gaetz, which is now gone because the people on the Hill, the Republicans on the Hill, hated Matt Gaetz. Yeah. So now that this sees the light of day, I don't know what the pitch. I just gave you the pitch for Pete Hegseth. Like, what is the pitch that he has to offer that he should be in charge of the Pentagon?
So there you go. So anyway, he makes this very same point that I'm making. Like, why? And then after that, there will be Tulsi Gabbard, right? And then it will come to whatever about Tulsi Gabbard will come to light. Whatever about Tulsi Gabbard that will come to light. Now, I know how you guys, right, especially here, you have a certain kind of feeling. Well, let me see, which is done. Is that hat you're wearing made from Rockaware? No, it is called, God, why did you put that in my head? Rowback. It's like a Rhodesian rowback. Rowback. It's a dog. Okay, so here, listen. I know you guys feel a certain kind of way about Nikki Haley, especially after that Civil War slavery comment, or that you believe that she sort of embarrassed herself by being sort of a pick-me for Donald Trump after he talked so much shit about her, and after she said he should drop out of the race, and that he was a detriment to democracy. He was dangerous, right? All of those things, right? And then she's like, pick me, I want to support you. Pick me, I want to campaign for you. Pick me, whatever. You're better than the alternative or whatever. Now I love you, right? I know you feel that same certain way about Nikki Haley. But Nikki Haley is now warning against Tulsi Gabbard, which is surprising because Nikki Haley is a conservative or Republican woman. I don't know. I believe Nikki Haley's going to become a Democrat, right? Or she'll become an independent and try to run, because the Republican Party certainly will not support her because they want the MAGA stuff. They want it. That's what they want. Okay. So anyway, I'm not shading her. I'm just saying I am shading her on the whole slavery thing because I think it's ridiculous and she knew better, whatever. But here it is where she's talking about Tulsi Gabbard. So first, you got to get through Pete Hegseth. Okay, so the Matt Gaetz thing is over. We'll see what happens with Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi probably stands a better chance because they think of her kind of as normal. You know, these politicians, they'll say whatever will get them elected, as we're saying about whatever, about Haley, whatever gets they think whatever gets them elected, that's what they'll say. But then you got to get to the Pete Hegseth part of it with the police report and the essay allegations and all the affairs and all the kids that are, possibly, out of wedlock. We used to have a name for them back in the day. You can't call them that now. So anyways, you guys know, you old heads know what they used to call a child out of wedlock. Okay. So you have that, and who knows what else, the payoff of the woman, the NDA of it all, the being drunk and the alleged drugs and the witnesses. So then you get to that, and then we'll see what works with that. Yes, you're right, Cindy. Right. You, Linda Ferker, you guys all know. Okay. Sheldon Johnson. Okay. Yeah. Illegitimate. Right. But there's another word. Okay. And so then after you get past that, then they will get to they haven't gotten to the Linda McMahon of it all, which is surprising to me. And then, especially since she's a woman and it's unusual. And then we're going to get to the Tulsi Gabbard and the whole sort of allegations of Russian asset and all that stuff, right? Sort of being anti-American, and then she was a Democrat. So then you will probably get to that. Fasten your seatbelts. But here is Nikki Haley warning people on Tulsi Gabbard, which I think is interesting.
She said that Donald Trump turned the U.S. into Saudi Arabia's prostitute. This is going to be the future head of our national intelligence. In Congress, Tulsi criticized Trump's authoritarian strike against Qasem Soleimani. Now, I will remind you, he was considered the master of death in Iran. She said he had no justification whatsoever for killing him. She tried to limit Trump's war powers against Iran. She tried to cut our annual defense budget so that we couldn't punish Iran and hinder their influence. Reminder, Iran is our #1 sponsor of terrorism, and Tulsi Gabbard was defending Iran.
Besides domestic terror, but go on.
She went to Syria in 2017 for a photo op with Bashar al-Assad while he was massacring his own people. She said she was skeptical that he was behind the chemical weapons attacks. Now, this to me is disgusting. Because, Cheney, you and I were at the United Nations when Assad did those chemical attacks on those children. Yep. And you can go back and look at a speech I gave holding up pictures of dead children who had been killed by chemical attacks.
Yep, choked to death.
For her to say that Assad was not behind that, literally everything she said about that were Russian talking points. Every bit of that. That was Russian propaganda.
Okay.
After Russia invaded Ukraine.
Okay. All right. That's good. I know. Will anybody care that she said this? Will anybody, and I'm just saying, will they just say, consider the source? I mean, on the Republican side. And do you care that she's saying this? Because think about all the stuff that she has said and how she has condemned Trump. And she said, and then what did she do? Nope. You guys are saying nope. Kimberly Page has lost credibility. Sheldon Johnson says nope. Chris Olsen says, I care. No, I'm not saying that. That is true, but will people care that it's coming from her? Because a lot of people have said the same thing. And considering her history, Chris Olsen says he cares. Or she, I'm not sure which Chris it is. It could be a he or she. Right? But just considering like what has happened, and I think it's important. I really do think it's important. But people will say, consider the source. Who would have to say that in order to get the attention of the folks in Washington? Or maybe they just don't care. Liminal says he loves watching Tulsi and Nikki fight. Linda Ferker says she flips. Carrie Kovathon says go Tulsi. Tawana Ware says MAGA. B says she doesn't get to complain now. Too late now. R.I.P. America, says Janice S. She's a flip-flopper, says Lock MJ. I'm just saying, yeah. There you go. Okay, everyone. Look, I hope you're going to join us for our show for Live at 5, Lemon Live at 5. I hope you really are going to join us today. This is our hot topic show where I just sort of, vent and get all of your, as many comments on as possible. Okay. Par for the course says good Prius. Prixius, I don't know who that's saying. I don't know how to pronounce that. Thank you, T Mama, for your support. Right? Does anyone care about their name anymore? Thank you, T Mama. Hey, thank you, Lemonheads. It's cold in here. I got to turn my radiator back on in my pre-war apartment in New York City with the old, just an old apartment. I have an old radiator. And then so I'll turn it on and it'll go, and then it'll slowly warm up. And then it'll be too hot and you'll turn it down and then you'll freeze again. You guys know what I'm talking about. Frank Gorman says it's cold in Florida. Are you serious? Hey, Siri, what's the temperature in Miami? Hey, Siri, what's the temperature in Miami?
68 degrees in Miami, Florida.
Say it again. Hey, Siri, what's the temperature in Miami?
I found this on the web.
No. Hey, Siri, what's the temperature in Miami? Doesn't want to do it. Now that I do that. Hey, Siri, what's the temperature in Miami? 68 degrees. Okay. Thank you, guys. 57 in Orlando, says Fuzzy1Z. Wow. That's the thing about Florida. You can never tell this time of year, especially I love to go for New Year's, but then almost inevitably when I go for New Year's, it's cold. Tallahassee is 50, says Dee. It's cold and then it's raining. And I'm like, I'm here for New Year's because I don't want to be in New York City. I think it's going to be warm and then it gets cold. Okay. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on your way out. Hit the thumbs up. We have so many people watching and it's like half the thumbs up. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. We love it when you do that. And also hit that smash the hearts over on TikTok. Okay, guys, live. We'll see you on Lemon Live at 5 Eastern on YouTube and wherever else we are streaming. But if you want your comments up, you want to be seen, you want to be part of the community, you got to join us on the YouTube, okay? And hit the subscribe button and you'll get to comment and your comments will be up. And we'll get to talk and answer. I consider 60 hot. 44 in Green Bay. It's chilly. Hey, Siri, what's the temperature in New York? The temperature in New York City is, that's Miami Beach. 58 in New Orleans, 57 in Baton Rouge, 38 degrees. The high is going to be 40. The low is 36. Wow, it feels like 22, it says. I got to turn that radiator on. Okay, see you soon. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure you hit the like button. It helps us with the algorithm. And also, we'd love for you to become a subscriber. So hit that button, too. We're live every day at 10 a.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Eastern, so there's plenty of content for you to check out.